Welcome to our session in Money and Capital Markets. So we are going to look at question number 11. Question number 11 reads, an investor purchases a 30-day commercial paper with par 1,000 and selling for 990. Calculate the yield earned by the investor. At B, a firm uses a 90-day commercial paper with par value 5,000 and selling for 4,850. Calculate the yield it expects. So now I need your participation in each of these ones. So question number 11 part A, we're asked to calculate the yield end for a commercial paper. So how do we calculate that? What is the formula for the yield end? Anyone? So what are we given in this paper? We've been given the par value and we've been given the purchase price, and the time is 30 days. So what's the formula for the yield? The commercial paper. So the yield is equal to the face value or par value minus purchase price over purchase price times 360 over time. Okay. Face value minus purchase price over purchase price times 360 divided by time. This is how we get the yield for the commercial paper. So here our time is 30 days and our face value is 1,000 and our par value or selling price is 990. And so we calculate, I'll just scrap off the zeros. So 1,000 minus 990 over 990 minus 360 over 30 times 100. So the yield, if you compute this, will come out to be 12.29%. Second part of the question, a firm issues a 90-day commercial paper with par value 5,000, selling for 4,550. Calculate the yield. Who wants to try this one? Same formula. So we just substitute what has been given. So when we substitute, we're going to have 5,000 minus 4,850 over 4,850 times 360 over the time. In this case is how much? It's a 90-day commercial paper over 90. So what do we get? We compute this times 100. We're going to get our answer as 12.59. 12.59. Okay. All this is there in the pamphlet. So an investor redeems an NCD purchased a year ago for 970 and receives 1,000 plus interest of 40,000. Calculate the annualized yield on this investment. So the yield for NCD is slightly different. How do we calculate the yield for NCD? How do we calculate for NCD, the yield? So we have our purchase price, we have our face value, we have our interest. So we said, what is the formula for the NCD? Who remembers the formula for the NCD? The face value plus interest minus selling. Face value minus purchase price plus interest over purchase price. Remember, face value minus purchase price plus interest over purchase price times 100. So here we have what? 1000. I'm just copying out the zeros. Minus 970 plus 40 over 970 times 100. So the NCD, although in the pamphlet, I didn't show the addition of the interest. I just added it in the total gain. So it's simply total gain over the purchase price plus interest. So when you multiply by 100, you get 7.22. Okay. So 7.22%. So we go to part D. An investor enters a repurchase agreement to buy. So these questions are going to come exactly the way they are. So please, it is harder to fail this course than to pass it, unless you just desperately want to fail it. So I'm looking at all the instruments, the yield of the commercial paper, the yield of repo, NCD. So here we're going to use the yield of a repo. What's the formula to find the yield of a repo? Your purchase price minus purchase price over purchase price times 365 over the time. Okay, so the repurchase price minus the purchase price over purchase price times 365 over time. So here we have the repurchase price, which is what? What is the repurchase price? 10 million minus 9.8 million over 9.8 million times 365 over 60. Okay, so this is how we calculate that. So 10 million minus 9,852,217 over 9,852,217 times 365 over the time, which is what? 60. It's 100. So this will give us our purchase yield as 9.12%. Are we together? So the dilemma here is you need to know which one is based on the 65 or 360 days. Okay, so you need to understand that. Okay, so today I need to teach you the Macauris duration in the evening. That's the only topic that I have not taught. Then discuss the feasibility and existence of three forms of the EMH, a weak, semi-strong, and strong within the context of your country's stock exchange. So the efficient market hypothesis, it posits that stock prices fully reflect all available information. So there are three forms that we must understand. There's what we call the weak form efficiency, which asserts that prices will reflect all historical market data. It includes the past and the volumes, and also technical analysis cannot consistently yield excess returns. So in terms of Zambia, Lusaka Stock Exchange then is exhibit a weak form efficiency as historical data is publicly available and technical trading strategies are likely to outperform due to limited liquidity. Then we go to a semi-strong form. Here, prices are slated to adjust to all publicly available information, including financial statements and news. So here, we have the technical and fundamental analysis. So the fundamental analysis cannot consistently yield excess returns. So the feasibility in Zambia, the Lusaka Stock Exchange may not fully achieve the semi-strong efficiency due to the delays in information dissemination. And also we have limited analyst coverage. So insider trading concerns as well. Um, they add up to that assertion. For instance, the corporate announcements may not be instantly reflected in the prices. Then we have the strong form efficiency, which asserts that the prices reflect all public and private information. Even insiders cannot consistently earn excess returns. So the strong form efficiency is unlikely due to information asymmetry, due to potential insider trading, and regulatory enforcement challenges. So we can conclude that whilst Lusaka Stock Exchange may approach the weak form, semi-strong and strong forms are less visible due to market imperfections. Are we together? Is this clear? Any questions so far?
Like for me on my end, not knowing others, sometimes you're mute, I think due to network.
Hello, you can get me?
Yes, now I can hear you,
All
but
right.
most of the times you're mute.
Maybe it's your network. Have I been mute with the others as well?
Like on my end here, I think it's network. I've tried to, let me just log out and then log in maybe.
Okay.
You've been very clear on my end.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So let's look at the Bank of Zambia. So we talked about in previous class, how did the Bank of Zambia come through in the financial markets during the COVID-19? So here we now want to look at how the central bank can use what are called sterilized and unsterilized foreign exchange market interventions to prevent uh, currency from depreciation and also ensuring that differentiate the impact of each method on the domestic money supply. So let me explain. So the Bank of Zambia, on behalf of the federal government, gets to work through unsterilized and sterilized mechanisms So when a currency like a kwacha is facing some downward pressure in the foreign exchange market, usually the central bank will come to intervene. How? By selling its foreign reserves, like the US dollar, we have reserves there, and will buy back its domestic currency because out there's pressure that our Zambian kwacha is useless. So we want our Zambian kwacha, but how do we get back our Zambian kwacha? We need to sell our foreign reserves. Now, this will increase demand for both the domestic currency and also will help to prevent our currency from depreciating. So the interventions that government through Bank of Zambia has to undergo, and these interventions are conducted in two ways. We call them sterilized and unsterilized. So we have what we call the unsterilized mechanisms. So the unsterilized mechanisms, we have several of them. So the unsterilized interventions include number one, what we call mechanism. So the central bank will sell the foreign reserves and will buy domestic currency. This will reduce the money supply and the impact will be contractionally. So the effect on the money supply, supporting the currency but potentially raising interest rates and will slow economic growth. So here, what actually happens is because the central bank is withdrawing its own currency from circulation to buy it back, the domestic money supply will contract. So the implications here is that we're going to have reduced money supply and will increase domestic interest rates. So these high interest rates will attract capital inflows and will further strengthen the currency. But if this is overdone, sometimes it may tighten credit and will reduce investment in the country and will slow economic growth. So this is one intervention which we call the unsterilized mechanism. The unsterilized mechanism is one where the central bank directly will sell their foreign currency, like the US dollar. They'll sell that to buy our domestic currency, the Zambian kwacha, from outside there. And by so doing, the central bank is withdrawing its own currency from circulation to buy it back. So the domestic money supply will contract. Okay. The other is called the sterilized intervention, where the central bank will sell foreign currency so that they buy back the domestic currency. It's like the unsterilized, but here, this is to prevent domestic money supply from shrinking. So our bank will conduct an offsetting open market operation, which we call the OMO, where the central bank, it will buy government securities from the domestic market. Then it will inject back domestic currency. So the impact that this one will have is it will offset the OMO, which is the open market securities, and ensure that money supply remains unchanged. So the implications here are that domestic interest rates will remain stable and the currency may be supported through what we call the signaling effect or temporal portfolio shifts. So this is called the sterilized. The central bank will sell the foreign reserves and will buy domestic currency, but will offset money supply by reducing the purchasing domestic bonds. So the impact of the money supply will remain unchanged. The exchange rate may be temporary as interest rates have been affected. Okay. Okay, let's look at question number 17. This part. We need to discuss functions of the global financial markets and outline the key financial services that are outlined or are sought by the public or corporation. So this question never misses. It comes every now and then. So just to explain, so the many functions that the global financial markets play. There's capital allocation, where the, it serves as a mechanism for channeling funds from the savers to the borrowers. So here, households, firms with surplus funds will deposit or invest, whilst those needing capital can access financing through bonds and equities. So this will ensure that the resources will flow into productive sectors. Risk transfer and diversification. Here, the financial markets will provide instruments like derivatives, futures, options that will enable you individuals and corporations to hedge against risks like inflation rates. Price discovery through continuous trading of financial instruments, like the market will review a fair price of assets based on supply and demand. The liquidity provisions here, the global financial markets will provide liquidity by ensuring that the financial instruments can easily be bought or sold without significant loss. Yes, Xavier. Is it Xavier or Sevenia? So we are looking at the functions that are performed by the global financial markets. So yes,
Souvenir.
yes, you can speak.
Which question are you looking at? I'm still seeing question 11, but what I'm reading, I don't think it's matching.
Oh, thank you for that.
Sorry?
Thank you for that. My screen was lagging. Question number 17. You can see it? Can you see the question? So we'll discuss the functions performed by the global financial markets and outline the key financial services. So there are many functions that the global financial markets will play. Number one, we have capital allocation. So it is used to channel savings to productive investment. Risk transfer to allow hedging against certain uncertainties. Price discovery. The financial markets will determine the asset values through trading, and liquidity provision, they will enable quick conversion into cash. Okay, what are some of the services that the financial market on a global scale do? Banking, they allow for deposits, loans, and payments. Insurance, they will allow risk protection for individuals. And investment services, they will allow brokerage, asset management, and advisory. And also exchange, foreign exchange currently, they will also help in currency trading and hedging. So these are some of the functions. Then we go to question number 18. Question number 18, we have a 3-month treasury bill with 10,000 sold for 97. Compute the discount rate for this bill. All right, so the discount value. How do we calculate the discount rate? The treasury bill.
I think we have to multiply the discount rate by days to maturity, then divide by 365.
The discount rate is what? The face value minus the price over the the par value minus price over par value times 360 over the number of days. Okay, so
So
then
I need to get it right, Mr. Collins.
mhm.
When when does the 365 or 360 goes up as a numerator, not as a denominator? I think I'm getting confused, man.
Okay, so like I said, I'll enlist all the formulas so that you're able to know which formulas um use 365 and which ones use 360. So I should differentiate them. Okay, so here we use 360. So it's a par value minus the price over par value times 360 over the number of days. So the discount rate is more D. Our par value is 10,000. minus 9,700 over 10,000 times 360 over number of days. What's the number of days we have? It's a 3 month. For 3 months, we're going to assume the treasury bill is what? 3 months, we're talking about how many days? 91 days, right? Or 90 days, depending on last time he specifies the days. But treasury bills usually move in 91, 182, you know. So since he's been using 90, you can put 90 there. Okay, but he'll give you the actual number of days. So we can calculate that, we're going to get 12%. So that is our discount rate, 12%. Small d. Then a 60-day commercial paper with the nominal value of 100,000 is issued at an annual discount rate of 7.5%. Calculate the money market yield. Calculate the money market yield. If how do you calculate the money market yield? So we need to first calculate the issue price. How do we calculate the issue price? We can't find the money market yield without the issue price of the CP. What's the formula of the issue price of the CP? We've been doing this question over and over. Issue price of the CP is got what? Face value, open brackets, 1 minus dt over what? Over 360. So here our face value, our nominal value is 100,000. Our D is 7.5%. Our time is 60 days. So here we're going to have 100,000, 1 minus 7%, 0.075, and the time 60 days over what? 360. So to find our issue price first, what is our issue price? We're going to get 98,750. And the money market yield, how do you find the money market yield? Face value minus the issue price you found over price of 360 over time. Okay. So this one is dependent on the answer that you found. Price is 360 over time. So 100,000 minus 98,750 over 98,750 times 360 over the time of how many? 60 days. So when you compute, you're going to get 7.6. Okay, 7.59 to be specific percent. Outline the steps involved in creating a banker's acceptance. What are the steps involved in creating a banker's acceptance? So just go to the pamphlet, those with the pamphlet, you can check on page 21. So step 1 is importer and exporter will agree on the terms. Then step 2, we are going to have the importer's bank to issue a letter of credit. Then step 3, the exporter will ship the goods and present the document to the bank. Then step 4, the bank will accept the draft, creating an acceptance written accepted. 5, the exporter will hold until maturity or discount until immediate cash release. Then 6, the bank will collect payment from the importer at maturity. So these are the steps involved in a BA. All right. What are the 4 primary types of risk associated with investing in bonds? There's interest rate risk, where prices can fall at any time. Credit risk, where the issuer may default. Inflation risk, where the purchasing power may be eroded. And liquidity, where it will be difficult to sell the bond. These are the bond risks that we expect. And calculate the value of a bond with 10% coupon rate, 12% year to maturity, and 4 years remaining. So you can calculate this using this method, okay, where you're going to calculate the value of the bond. You discount them. This is a 4-year bond. So it being a 4-year bond, you just put coupon rates, because a bond give you coupon interest at each. So the value of the bond will be the cash flows 1 plus R the power n plus the maturity value itself in the final year. 1 plus R to the power n, the last year. It's a 4-year bond. So in year 1, you're going to have what? The coupon interest. 10% of the coupon interest is 100. Just say 100. Then for the 4 years, 1.10 power 1 plus 100. Second year, 1.10 to the power 2 plus 100. Second year, 1.10 to the power 3 plus 100. The last year, which is year 4, it will be 1.10 power 4. And in the very 4th year, you get your what? Your actual amount, 1,000 discounted, which is 1.10 to the power 4 again. When you compute this, you get the value of the bond. And this is what we get here. Okay. So the market rate is actually 12%, sorry. The 10% is 10% of 1,000. So mean you get our capital I as what? 100. That's why we're using 100 throughout. But 12% is the market rate. So here, put 1.12, 1.12, 1.12, 1.12. The years are 4 years. So first year, second year, third year, and the last one in the 4th year as it is. So 1.14 to the power 1, 1.14 to the power 2, 1.1 for the power 3, and the 1,000 is 1.1 for the power. So when you add all these values, you get the value of the bond. So this bond is called a discount bond because it's being sold at less than the par value of 1,000. All right, so we end here. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this was insightful.
Please